Hello, and welcome to episode number 40 of Just Chillin'. I am one of your hosts, Sean Hoffman.
And I'm your other host, Andy Bell. Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Hopefully our both of our internet connections hold out for this week's episode. I know we're both kind of dealing with some uh moody weather and but other than that, dude, I'm good. It's been crazy, it's been busy. Um we've had like guests like visiting, not like staying with us necessarily, but we've had a lot of people like visiting in town. So it's been like
Mm-hmm.
chaotic evenings, yada yada yada. Like lots of like not a lot of downtime. So it feels very like frenetic in ways. But like I think that's the end of it. So we got like 2 days, and then we leave for Vegas on Friday. We got a concert there this weekend that I'm really looking forward to. And the weather's not going to be 110 degrees there this weekend, apparently, which is very
Nice.
exciting. It's supposed to be like mid 70s, 80s, which is very comfortable for Vegas. So yeah, we're doing that, and then we're maybe we'll know later this evening. Maybe I'll be able to visit a special friend of ours next week. Might be doing that. If we can work out the details as we make our way to Indiana after Vegas, because we're going to Indiana so Madison can go to her very first Taylor Swift concert. And
Nice.
probably her only one too. Like she's not a huge Swiftie, but she's always wanted to go. But we were able to make it work. So that'll be interesting. I'm going to like I've learned that is now a huge mistake that I did that. Um, I thought it was gonna be like a regular concert. I didn't realize that I was gonna need to go and be there like all day.
Mm-hmm.
That's news to me. Um, Interesting. We see. I'll do some live reporting from the scene.
Excellent.
I'm sure that'll be exciting. That's in a couple weeks. But other than that, man, I did besides this upcoming stuff, I did a little update. I did update get return flights from Japan. Um,
Oh,
I know that was a stressful a stressful thing that I was worried about. So for context for the people, because I know that people are like, oh, what do you consider expensive? So when we were looking at return flights, they were upwards of $4,000 to $5,000 a person to return from Japan. So yeah, that's not money I have. So that's why I
no.
was joking about living there. But we were able to get return flights for very reasonable prices, right around $700 a person. Still pricey, but very reasonable. And we were able to achieve that by laying over in Hawaii, um,
Right.
which neither one of us have been. So we were like,
700's
oh,
good though.
yeah, it's very good. Like neither one of us have
700's
been to
amazing.
Hawaii.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've put it off for quite a while now, and
Mm.
unfortunately, I'm getting to a point now where I'm starting to get that anxiety of, oh God, I've got to commit. I've got to commit. So there's two things I've got to do this weekend. The first being my taxes, and the second thing is I've got to book tickets for Japan. And at the
Yeah.
moment, I'm looking around the 2,000 mark for me to get a return. It's not
Damn.
cheap from the UK, and it's the return. Like you, it's the return flight, which is crazy prices.
Yeah. I think it's the Golden Week stuff. That's what everybody keeps telling us. They're like, oh, it's because we're kind of leaving close, like right as we're approaching Golden Week. So there's a lot of people leaving, a lot of
Right.
Japanese residents leaving as well, which is weird because you'd think a lot of them maybe would go to. I think there's a big exodus that will go to Hawaii. So you'd think that would be more expensive since I'm laying over in Hawaii to make it so cheap. But yeah, that sucks. We'll have a 3-hour layover in Hawaii. Neither one of us have ever been there, so it's going to be kind of like bittersweet, but also it's better than paying 5 grand
Yeah,
each.
absolutely.
That's insane.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool, man.
Oh,
Anything else?
I did forget one
Oh, go
thing.
on.
I forgot to put them on before we started. But do you like my new sunglasses or my new glasses?
They're amazing, mate. They're delicious. They're
A buddy
absolutely
of mine,
delicious.
one of the buddies who came and visited, brought me these. These are. Real D 3D glasses for the original Force Awakens release. So
Oh wow,
they're Stormtrooper like polarized lenses, like
nice.
from the Force Awakens. He brought me these. I don't remember. I think he got them from Japan when he was over there recently. And he also
I like
got
those a
me,
lot.
or is it? He also got me this. He likes to get me these like little trinkets. He got me Disney Racers Boba Fett Hot Wheels car.
Nice,
So it's like a hot rod in mint in package. You know,
nice.
if Kev was
Yeah,
here, I'd rip that beast open.
I
And
was gonna say it would be a delight to see his face.
I'll save it. I'll save it for the next time. Next time they're on. But speaking of which, I want to thank those two for last week's episode. It was a really cool time. Thank you, Kevin, Chris. I had a blast. I'm sure Andy will add some of his thoughts too. But no, that was a lot of fun, and I know we've got a lot of positive feedback about that episode too. But yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, that was nice. I mean, like you said, you know, we've had some good feedback from people whose opinion I really take note of. I think they're that they're important. So getting good feedback from people like that is really really nice. But I won't go into it too much. But I won't go into it until I talk about my last week. But I got a chance to see the boys as well this weekend, as you already know, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But they were also stoked by the whole thing. And one of the things that Kev said was, "You'll know when I'm not engaged. I won't say an awful lot, and it'll be a relatively quick session. The fact that we were nearly going for 3 hours. I mean, I was exhausted. I mean,
Yeah,
the guy that can't shut the fuck up was exhausted. And I was trying to get these guys to shut the fuck up. But the fact is the fact is that they had such a good time, and we were going for nearly 3 hours with so much more to talk about.
yeah, we barely scratched the surface.
Was brilliant. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it will come as any surprise that we're planning session round two, which we're hoping will coincide with some good news from those guys, or from Chris in particular as well. So yeah, watch this space, folks. It was really really good fun.
But yeah, dude, that's my week. That's my week, and now you can roll straight into what you were going to talk about. So perfect segue.
Well, first of all, before we go, it was your birthday last week, and unfortunately, my courier had let me down, and I said there was more things to come. So there's just a couple of things that I just want to show you that is also coming your way. So I know you collect them. Pardon?
This is acceptable.
Okay,
I like this.
So
talks amongst yourselves.
Talking about sales. No, I got them at hand. I got them on hand, so it's all good. So first things first. You and I have spoken about this in our collecting. Not that we collect this stuff.
We definitely do not.
Well, we don't collect mainstream as much mainstream stuff as we used to. But there are certain niche things that some people absolutely hate, but we think is quite fun. And so a while ago, you sent me a list of some of the holiday Black Series figures you don't have, and I picked one out for you that I don't think you've got, and I hope you can see that. Let me just turn my light around.
I see some colors. I see some pixels. Oh, nice! He is it's the holiday Scout Trooper he's red. He's got a Grogu Christmas sweater on, and he comes with the Grogu backpack. No, I do not have that one, and I don't know if I've ever seen that one. That one rules.
Okay, so that's coming to you. And then secondly, I was inspired by some of these makers and creators that we see on YouTube that we talk an awful lot about. And I already bought one of these for myself approaching a year ago. And I got one for you as well because I saw somebody weather it recently and it looked dope. It looked really, really dope. And I thought, who do I know that's really into not so much there's the making stuff, which you really, really enjoy, but is really, really good at dry brushing and weathering and everything. So I got, for a very, very good deal, I bought another one of these for you to just mess around with. And it is Lola from Kenobi.
I'm looking. The screen is loading. I
Oh,
heard
hang on.
Lola.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
the droid. Oh, dude, yeah, I was like, Lola, who is that? That's the droid, dude. Hell yeah, sick.
So you've got a Lola, and the reason why I will share with you the video that I was watching, and I thought, Sean could do that. Sean could do that. Sean could do that. And it's basically, as I said, it is basically weathering it so it looks like it's in
Yeah.
universe because it's to scale, and it's the full interactive animatronic Lola, not
Mm.
the poor man's version. So there should be reasonably good fun for you
I'm
to have
already
a mess
getting
around with.
ideas. Well, because to be clear, that's the perfect gift because you know what? There's times where I'm like, I don't like I enjoy building. I enjoy the whole process, but if it was possible for me to just do the weathering,
Yeah,
like somebody just hand me ships
yeah,
and I'll
yeah,
just
yeah.
weather them, like that is what I would do. Like I
Mm,
just love taking the clean ship and just making it not clean. So yeah,
cool
that's why it
beans.
takes me forever to build them. It's like
Well,
this part
I'm
is
hoping
takes
this.
forever.
I'm hoping this will take some space in my hand luggage on the flight to Tokyo, so that I can refill it for the way back. Um, but yeah, this is coming out to you. This is all coming out to you very soon. Well, in a
Nice.
few months. Yeah, as I said, really, really getting anxiety now. Now I'm seeing people actually make plans and organize themselves. I need to sort my flights out. So that is a job for me at the weekend, which I am going to commit to because I said I would to myself and others as well. So that's going to happen at the weekend. And then, goodness me, we had a visitor. So Mr. Ed Bossart from the Scruffy Looking from the US contingent of the Scruffy Looking podcasts. He came over on Thursday of last week and spent just under a week in the UK. So I unfortunately was working away Monday, Tuesday, so I could only see him for a couple of days.
Mm.
But I went to pick him up. From the airport. From the airport, this is quite big. This is actually going to be quite a long story because we there were quite a few challenges along the way, but which I'll go into. I'll explain later. But picked him up from the airport. Everything fine. Drove all the way to Puzzlewood, which is in Wales. It's actually it's very close to Wales. So I live on the other side of the UK, but it's actually even further than where I live. So if you consider that London's in the east, I live in
Hmm.
the west. This was the far west, and in fact, we had to go into Wales, a separate country but part of the UK,
Yeah.
in order to go get to this forest. And we went to a place called Puzzlewood, which I've told you before is where a heck of a lot of different productions are made. One of them being The Force Awakens, and it was the place where they filmed Takadana. So where Rey is escaping from the First Order,
Hmm.
shooting a few stormtroopers up, and then bumps into Kylo Ren.
Mr. Rin.
That's in this wood. That's in this wood. Um, and unfortunately, the weather hasn't been great. So while it was dry, it was extremely muddy because we're talking about a forest and a forest that is built into, like I said, growing out of an old mine or an old mine, and it was very slippy, very muddy, and I think it was a little bit of a longer walk than Ed expected, but we got through it. We did pretty well. Then we grabbed some food to try and delay getting back home because Lucy was still working.
Hmm.
So we chewed the fat over some lunch, made it back home, introduced him to Lucy, and she immediately loved him, which is great because if my wife likes you, everything's groovy as far as I'm concerned. Um, and then went out for dinner that night. So we went out for a nice Italian, a local Italian that's recently opened in our village, and it's some good food. It's some really good food. He seemed to be happy, so
No ass sausages for
no
red.
ass sausages. No, no, no,
Okay.
no, 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 no. He ordered for himself, so he was all good, and that was fine. And then the plan was to then go up to see the boys the next day. So we were part of my job was to pick him up from the airport, keep him busy for a day, and then head up north the following day so that we could he could spend some time with Kevin and Chris. Unfortunately, I have an electric car, and this is where my stress for the weekend started. So I have an electric car, which most of the time suits me perfectly down to the ground if I fucking charge it. So woke up the following day, jumped in the car. Oh no. Forgot to charge it, or the charging didn't work properly overnight. It tripped a switch or something.
Yeah.
So, okay, no worries. We've got a pretty good infrastructure in the UK. We'll go. Let's go an hour up the road and we'll charge from somewhere just to get out of Lucy's head because she is working today. Anyway, so we got in the car, packed the car up, got in the car, headed up north, found a place to stop for lunch and at the same time for me to charge the car. Again, really good infrastructure in the UK. And the fucking charging thing was messing me around because it was like, oh, it's not charging. But my car was saying, yeah, I'm charging. Anyway, we're going for some lunch, had some lunch, came out again, and I was probably 50% charged by then. It's like, that'll do. That'll get us there, and I'll work it out on the way back.
Yeah.
At which point, I found out that actually my car has been charging and somehow we got away with electricity for free, which was a result. And I'm not going to admit to that one. And then, we made it up to the boys up in Nottingham. Hooked up with Kev first. The plan was we'll have a cup of tea with Kev because Chris is still working. He's doing stuff around the house. So I had a quick cup of tea with Kev, and then Kev jumped to the back of my car, and then we merrily made our way to Chris's place. Spent the evening at Chris's place playing board games, drinking beer, eating takeout Chinese. It was really, really good fun. Like really, really good fun. And so had a great night. The plan for the Saturday, the following day, was we're going to go to Warhammer World. So Ed Bosshart is a massive tabletop gaming fan. Hence his desire, hence his interest in painting miniatures and the rest of it. So there's a place, Warhammer World, which is part of I think it's the Games Workshop group or Games whatever Workshop, it is. Yep. But anyway, essentially it's based up in Nottingham. So the factory's there, and there's a fucking huge museum there as well. Like, there's a massive shop there, so you can get every single paint under the sun. But not only that, there is a museum there with life-size models of orcs and space marines and everything you can possibly think of. And so the plan was Saturday morning, we'll go to Warhammer World for Ed so that he can get his rocks off there, and then go into town and grab some lunch. Anyway, we got there. And I chose to drive. The reason why I chose to drive was, guys, I've got to head back home tonight. I need to charge my car. I don't have enough charge to get halfway, let alone a part of the way. Sorry, all the way home. And so I'll drive us in so we can find a charger in town. Good idea at the time, wasn't it, Andy? Yeah. Anyway, got to Warhammer World. It was closed. There's some sort of refurbishment going on, or they're changing the exhibits or whatever it was. We were absolutely denied, and it wasn't going to open until the following Tuesday, which of course Ed staying up there, he could have made, but I didn't get to see his little delightful cheery face, unfortunately, this time round, and we'll have to do it next time he visits. So that was a bit of a bummer. That was the first thing that went wrong. Then we went into town, and I could not find a place to charge my car because it was all full. It was Saturday. It was a very busy town in Nottingham city centre, and I could not find it. And it ended up being a laugh because I'm starting to, for everyone else, because I'm starting to shit myself because I've got absolutely zero charge. So the end, it's like, boys, I'm gonna have to leave you here. Thanks for looking after me. Thanks for having me. I'm gonna have to go. Lo and behold, I dump them off so that they can enjoy the city, and they'll make their own way back because they're not too far away from Nottingham.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, I find a place that's finally available for me to charge at a premium, but it's free. And it's like, guys, I'm going to find. I rang them. I'm going to find you. Where are you? We're in this bar. Okay, I'm on my way. And then I spent another couple of hours with them, only to find out when I got back to my car that there's a limit on how long you can charge it for. So they basically had locked the cable, the tether to my
Yeah.
car, and I wasn't allowed to. I couldn't. There's no way I could have physically removed it from the car because I'd exceeded the time I was meant to be there. So then spent half an hour talking to the the place and working out with them, and in the end, I think the manager of the place was so tired with me on his back that he essentially flicked the switch and switched off the entire all of the charging bays that he had going on there, so I could uncouple my car and get on my merry way. And then I got home, and then the rest is history. You know, back to work on Monday, all that kind of stuff, yada yada yada. But it was quite the event. But it was in the time. It was worth every single moment of pain that I was feeling, that I was an anxiety that I was going through, simply to spend 3 days. Sorry, 3 days, 2 days, not even 2 days. 1 day, one night with Ed, and some more time with the boys. And Ed, bless him, I love Ed. He'd again Black Series.
He painted a raincoat.
No, did he hell? No, this was easier for him. No, bless Ed. He was lovely, absolutely lovely. And he said, you know, I know you're not collecting much of Black Series these days, but this is one that I've been holding on to as being something a bit special, and I thought you might like it. So he gave me the 40th anniversary Boba Fett for Empire Strikes Back, my favorite film. Boba Fett in carbonized.
Ooh.
The carbonized Boba Fett. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, very shiny.
Lighting again. Yeah, no, it is actually very, very stunning. It really is stunning. And when he told me about the selection that he's got, it's the only one I would have wanted. The rest are all troopers. The rest are all sequel trilogy, or a lot of it is sequel trilogy stuff, which I'm not going to hate on the sequels, but if I was to collect something, it would be OT, and it would be Chewbacca, of course. But this, in the Empire Strikes Back collection, is really, really nice. And it's in mint. I don't know how he got it over to me. It's in mint condition. Absolutely mint. So that don't tell Kev I said this. That is staying in the box. Just don't tell Kev. As far as he's concerned, I'm ripping it open and demolishing it with my teeth. But yeah, no, it's really, really good.
So
that was cool.
It open. Where's my trash can?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Excellent.
It's ripped open.
See, there you go. If it all goes wrong, you could be a Foley artist.
Yep. I'm an ASM artist.
That's it. And that's it, mate. So that was my week, but a lot of fun, a little bit of stress, but really, really good to spend time with them.
Andy 0, EV 1.
Yeah.
The scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly. And I walked away from Ed, giving him a big manly bear hug as he was leaving. I said, because we were talking about electric cars on the way up, because he quite enjoyed the ride.
Yeah.
And as I left him, I gave him a big hug and said, "No, don't buy one. just don't buy one. With where you live in proximity to the rest of the world. Just don't get one, dude. Not at the moment."
That's why we have a plug-in hybrid, like, because our infrastructure here in the mountains isn't great. It does great for local stuff, but a full EV would be. I don't want to go sit in a casino parking lot charging my car.
No, right. No, right. And that's almost what we did. And that's all. Oh, my God. Oh, sorry. There's another story. It's funny. Really, really funny. This stop off that we made on the way up to Nottingham, which was at the facility that seemed to give me free electricity because their monitors seemed to be broken, but it was still feeding electricity to my car. Yeah. We're about to leave. We're about to get in the car. You know, it's charged. That's enough. We can get up there. Jump in the car, and all of a sudden, this very small, very, very, very small car just slams its brake on in front of us and stops. It's like, okay, because we can't get out of our parking bay. What's going on here? And then the passenger door opens, and this very, very old lady starts slowly getting herself out of the car. Out of the driver's seat. Out of the driver's door, sorry, this very, very old man is getting out. And they've literally parked in front of a parking bay. So it's impossible to...
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're stopping from other cars passing them because they've taken up the road space.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
all of a sudden, I noticed the car rolling backwards. So
Oh no.
the handbrake's not on, and and this woman is getting out of the car. It's like she's going to be killed. She's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
be killed. Simply, I mean, literally, as soon as she gets out, the car door is
We'll run
going to
her
hit
over.
her as it rolls
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
and roll her. So I start shouting, and the old boy's looking at me as if I'm saying, as if I'm trying to mug him. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, no, don't blame me. I said, no, dude, put your handbrake on. Your car is rolling back over your wife. And he looked at me, and Ed seems to think there's something sinister there. Like he actually, he checked out his insurance recently or something. But he kept looking at me as if I was a nutter. So of course I run out of my car, start getting behind this car so I can at least stop some of the progress of this rolling car.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this woman just shouts at me, "I need a pee! I need a pee!" And I'm like, "Okay, but you're about to die. No problem at all." Anyway, that guy puts his handbrake on. He says, "Oh, that's why we're here. She desperately needs the toilet." I said, "I'm sure she does, but thank goodness she's still alive, right?" And they just looked at me as if I'm the idiot,
They had no. They had
Anyway,
no clue. They had no clue
no,
what was going on.
none whatsoever, none whatsoever. She hobbles off, and then he finally parks the car. But yeah, it was bizarre, absolutely bizarre.
Why was
And
he
Ed was,
getting out of the car?
I've no idea, mate. I've no idea. I can imagine him, screeching to a halt because we're near the entrance of the facility. So screeching to the halt, letting her out, and then finding a parking space. But no, he was getting out as well, or he was trying to kill her. I don't know. It was one or the other. Anyway, Ed in the meantime's in hysterics. So yeah, that was a fun story as well. Yeah.
Wow.
So good. Oh, and then lastly, sorry, I will stop. Then
It's
lastly,
okay.
Cards Against. So one of the board games we played a few board games. And
Yeah.
I to say thank you for having me. I bought Chris and his family a board game because I did that last time and it seemed to land quite well. So I thought, oh, family board games, I'll get another one. Anyway, we were playing family board games for the majority of the evening because Chris's youngest son Jackson was with us, and then when he went to bed, out came Cards Against Star Wars. So this is the Star
Yeah.
Wars takes on Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it was hilarious, and at some point, I will ask Chris, who took lots and lots of photographs of the question and the answers that we gave, and asked him to compile it somewhere because I haven't laughed so hard in quite a while.
Yeah.
Downside was some of the spelling, like the obvious spelling. I'm not talking about Star Wars characters. I'm talking about the English language was atrocious. So I'm getting the feeling it may not have been produced in
A bit bootleg.
is a bit bootleg, but it's meant to be
Yeah.
an official game, but it's a bit bootleg, but a lot of good fun. Sorry,
Nice.
I've digressed. News, mate. News. Have you picked up any news this week?
The only news that I picked up on is that they've released the Star Wars Celebration badge art by an artist
Oh,
named
yeah.
Takumi. Oh, dude, it is sick. Like they haven't released all of them, but they've released some. Dude,
Yeah.
it is like right up the alley of like, I hope they do Japanese themed Star Wars art, and it's like, yep, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's what they've done.
Here you
and it's
go.
awesome.
Here you go.
There it is. So that's the only news I've picked up on because I have been swamped. But other than that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I picked up on a few things. I saw that there was some guerrilla behind the scene pics of Spider-Man Noir.
Ooh.
So I knew they were doing a Spider-Man Noir spin-off of
Spider-Verse movies.
Spider-Verse movies, yeah.
No.
I didn't realize it was live action though. So there's pictures of Nicolas Cage in like the whole trench coat and fedora, that kind of arrangement, which looks interesting. I didn't really read into it because it seemed to be, like I said, a dodgy phone pic from behind the scenes. But yeah, that's the fact that that's being made. I'm very, very interested. Silo season 2. So Silo was the program on or the series on Apple TV that I really, really rated, with Rebecca Ferguson as the lead. Really, really good story. Like very different, similar but very different take on Fallout. In fact, a very different take on Fallout in that they're kind of, I wouldn't say punished, rather than feeling lucky that they're in the
Mm.
in the vault. They're kind of, or in the silo in this case, they're kind of it's there's a class system
Yeah, yeah.
that isn't quite fair. So that's good. The season 2 trailer coming out for that looks tight. And then lastly, one of my favorite games that we talked to, I think it was an honorable mention, but nonetheless, one of my favorite games of the console eras was Alien Isolation.
Mhm.
And on the back of a good result of Romulus, the guys that originally created Isolation are looking to do a sequel to
Nice.
that. It's in the works, which is great because they that game knows how to put the shits up you. So yeah, very very good and very very excited about that. That's the only news I picked up on, mate. To be honest with you.
I did see this
Um,
morning that Shrinking, the Apple TV show Shrinking, has 2 new
yes,
episodes out, and I was like,
yes,
"Whoo! I didn't even know it was coming," but I'm excited.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I need to talk to you about that because I haven't started yet. But
You haven't started season 1 or season 2?
no, season 2. I've seen season 1 and loved it.
Oh,
Loved
yeah,
every minute of
same.
it. And
I
in
haven't
fact, I
watched it
think
yet.
I was it. Was it when we were talking with Kev and Chris, or was it someone else? We were talking about. Oh no, it was when we were on the Sith list with Iraj, and
Yeah.
he asked, have you seen Shrinking?" Yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's I'm a Harrison Ford fan like most people, but I do, like I said to you before, I Ford is Harrison Ford,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's like this is the movie, it's Harrison Ford playing Harrison Ford, whereas in Shrinking, I think his repertoire is really really good,
I
really
like seeing
really
his
good. So
range. Yeah, his range is really nice
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah. No,
see.
that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Sorry,
Yeah.
but yeah, all good. Um, what about what about consuming, watching, listening, reading,
Consuming.
playing? What have you
So
been up
so I
to,
do
mate?
have I've watched a couple things. So the first one is I've had some time to think about Megalopolis since then. I still haven't really watched anything or like read anything about it. Like I think it's just really been sitting in the back of my mind. And it's like I've had some time to kind of digest it and be like, all right, is it bad or is it misunderstood or whatever? Am I just not smart? Um, I'm now mostly leaning towards like it's not good. Like it's like it's
Okay.
still like I'm sure there's some pieces in there that are like moments of potential brilliance, but it's not as bad as everybody's making it out to be, but I just don't I'm not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel that's like, "Oh, I get it." Like,
Yeah, it's not getting the positivity. I mean, after 21 years in development, whatever it was, you kind of think that the product would be universally embraced, and and I'm
especially
happy,
when it's
and I'm
funded by
happy to
somebody's
say,
own money, it's
yeah,
like you think that like they'd watch it at the end and go like it's almost like nobody watched it before they released it. That's what I feel like. It's like, "Oh yeah, it's all great. We filmed it." But it's like, "Did you see the final edit? Like
mm.
did you watch it?" Like if you did, I almost wonder like do you need to be like evaluated or something? Like what happened
Well,
there?
I'm going to watch it anyway because I'm
Yeah,
fascinated. There's,
it
there,
is
there,
worth
there,
a
there,
watch for sure.
there is stuff out there. Like I said, I mean, I've given examples before. Naked Lunch. There's a heck of a lot of Eraserhead. There's a whole
Yeah.
bunch of surreal stuff out there that I'm glad I've watched for the experience, and I don't revisit it, but I try to recognize the qualities he's got because that's let's face it, that's what we do
By no
as a
means is it the
podcast.
worst movie I've ever seen.
No,
I've spent more money watching way worse movies that I've seen more than once. So it is by
yeah,
no means like oh, I'm gonna go gouge my eyeballs out or anything like that, or like, oh, go start a picket line. It's just it's just different. Like I haven't had a bizarro like it's worth watching. I recommend it. So I'd love to talk about it with you at some point. Um,
okay.
I won't watch it again. Probably not.
No.
Unless
But
there's a
when
director's commentary, that I would watch. But I don't think that's coming. But anyways,
anything else?
Some other things I watched. Like I kind of mentioned last week, we did watch Inside Out 2. Highly recommend it. It's really good for like I do think Inside Out 1 is you can't really beat that because it is what it is. Like it was what it was, and it's hard to kind of top that. But this is a good logical sequel that expands on it, makes it deeper. But it's hard to kind of beat that original one. But it's really good.
Yeah.
There's some really good stuff, and I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. But if you've ever dealt with anything mental health related, like it's a good watch. The other thing I watched, Beetlejuice.
Oh wow.
I watched that.
And
It is a Beetlejuice movie. Like I want to say it's like it's silly. Like it's silly like what the original like it kind of captures the vibe of the original. Um it's not winning any awards, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was neat. I thought it was going to be I'm glad it wasn't kind of like that typical sequel where it maybe focuses too much on the younger characters and like the original characters to kind of take a back seat. I thought some of the stuff that they did with the original cast was really, really clever, really neat. It's just funny. It's just a funny, goofy popcorn flick.
do you know what?
Yeah,
I didn't know that the original dad
mhm.
wasn't in it, who was the teacher in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah,
And I didn't.
he's not
Yeah,
good.
yeah, no, I did not know anything about that until I looked up why he wasn't in the movie, and it
Yeah.
was like, oh, I don't think I should have opened this can of worms. But
The
yeah, I
thing
had no,
that's
it's one of those things that just passed me by without me even understanding or taking notice of it.
the thing that's interesting is how much his character is in it. Like it's not like an they died and they're just never mentioned again. It's like no, it's a pretty active role. Like in this in this new movie. And what's even weirder is they show the original actor's likeness a lot, like
Oh
in
wow,
photographs and stuff like that. And so it's like, how does that work? Like,
wow,
I'm pretty sure he's in prison still. And so it's like,
right.
how does that work with like, do you work with the estate and like, oh, we'd like to use the likeness of this actor? Like, does he
Or
get
do you have
paid?
to? Or do you
Yeah, or do you
have
have
to?
to?
Did the original Beetlejuice come out at a time where they were thinking about, we have the right to use your likeness if you're in this film,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't know, man. But I again, I had no idea. I was, what, yeah, I don't know about you, but I feel a real kidney punch when you hear about people that you kind of like
Yeah.
and you realize that they're wrong uns in the end. And it's like, oh, not you as well. Not
Yeah.
you
Not,
as
and
well.
not,
It's just like,
especially when it's not like, oh, there's infidelity or stuff like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
When it's stuff where it's like, oh, holy crap. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you're really not great. That's where it's like, whoa, that's that. Yeah, it's not fun. Not a good
No.
feeling. Uh, but yeah, I saw that. That was fun. It's a good
Cool.
popcorn flick. Like it's not like a let's
Oh well, as soon as
plan the weekend around it kind of thing.
we always knew we were going to miss it because of the last couple of weeks. Not only me, but Belusi as well
Yeah,
has also been extraordinarily busy at the moment. So we've got we in a couple of weeks we got a week off work and we're gonna go taking some sun for a week, but we'll get back to normal service after that. So we knew that we weren't going to watch it until it comes out when it starts streaming. In which case, she'll want to watch that. That's right up her alley.
yeah,
Switch your brain off. In her world, oh, it's another thing that reminded me of Ed. In her world, she can have a film streaming in the background while she's also on her Switch.
yeah,
Ed, by the way, thought it was really cool that I tried to. I made it very, very clear actually. On the way back from picking him up at the airport, I said, "Listen, dude, Lucy will come over as being quite sensible, quite a quite a demure lady that that is sensible, and I'm the geek in the family. But
Yeah.
don't kid yourself. This woman watches. She loves dinosaur movies. She loves monster movies. She loves
Yeah.
Godzilla. She loves Jaws. She watches the Meg at
Yeah.
least once every other month or so. So don't
Yeah.
believe that. And she's also and I didn't tell him about the Switch. And of course, when she's on the Switch, and he just leaped off his seat and said, "This is amazing. This is brilliant. I love it. You're such a geek." So yeah, that went down. But
And she
that
said,
went down quite well.
you watch your mouth at Boss Hart. You watch your mouth. Don't you be
No,
talking
actually,
too much."
she's kind of she's the type of person that actually say, "Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right." Anyway, that was good fun.
Well,
Sorry,
now I'm gonna have to kill you.
I went off at a tangent. Sorry about that.
No,
Sorry.
I will say the thing I like. It's not a spoiler. It's a Beetlejuice movie. The thing that I
Yeah.
like, I do appreciate about Beetlejuice is that unlike most movies these days or sequels, they didn't try to humanize or make Beetlejuice a good guy. He's still a piece of shit, and that is what I like. I like that it's like he is still a demon, still an
Yeah.
asshole, still gross, and it's just like perfect. That's because
Yeah.
that's what he is. So that was
Yeah.
cool. The other thing I did mention, so it's not consuming yet, but I am going to that concert this weekend. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good old time. Lots of old music, like not old music, older music. When
Mhm.
that I grew up with, big festival thing in Vegas. That'll be fun doing that. It's gonna be nuts. Probably gonna kill me. And the other thing I watched that I'm very excited about that I know I mentioned to you previously is I've watched episodes 3 and 4 of The Penguin. I have an
Mm.
update of my sentiment towards the show. I know in the beginning I made comments about like not criticizing, but just like cautiously optimistic when the first episode came out, and everybody's like, "That's the greatest television ever." It's like, we'll see. Let's see what happens. Um, Episode 3 and 4, it is stepping into a world of its own. A kind of like I was hopeful. Like it's exceeding expectations. Like it is stepping into prestige kind of television, not just riddled with superhero. It's not a Gotham. It's not some of these other things where it just can't help itself but be like overly name droppy, overly fantastical. It's like episode 4. I have not been that anxious of watching an episode of television in a very long time.
Oh
Like
wow.
just the acting, the story. It's uncomfortable. Not in a Game of Thrones, not a House of the Dragon season 1, episode 1 kind of way.
Gratuitous, not in a gratuitous way.
Yeah, not in a
Yeah.
gratuitous way, but like it toes that line of like we know how to make you feel things and make you feel uncomfortable without being excessive. Like
Mm.
it's not a rotten.com kind of thing. It's very well acted like that. I think our buddy Chris posted in the memes channel of like, where's like from one of the actors, like, where's my Emmy? It's like, oh, they deserve it from
Yeah.
just that one episode alone. It's fantastic. I'm very interested to see where it goes. I am like I'm not talking about spoilers or anything like that because we all know the story of Batman and stuff, but like that whole
I
universe.
need to
But
watch it, man. I mean, my list is getting it's crazy. I need to watch it so I can talk to you about it, and you don't have to feel as if you don't need
no,
to give any spoilers away.
it's like I can't really spoil anything anyways. Like it's 4
Right.
episodes. Not a lot has happened. Like it's just I it's not the story of like, oh, what are the M. Night Shyamalama ding dong twists and stuff that are happening. Like it's nothing like that. Like it's not really spoilery. It's like just the quality of television that we're
Yeah.
getting is so good. And I'm hopeful that like they will see this season through in a way that is like meaningful because it feels like it's building up to this. It's such a good show. I hope it doesn't get into that like fantastical stuff. Like I know it's gonna have to eventually, like you're gonna have other people involved. Like Batman's not in it at all. Like that's what's awesome. It's like
Yeah.
I don't think he's not even mentioned or any of that stuff. It's just like this is an isolated story, kind of these things, and like it's just so good. You need to watch it. So I think Lucy, from what you say, I think she'd like it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. She loved. She tolerates my Star Wars, but she loved Andor.
Yeah.
I mean, I coin the phrase all the time. Andor is an amazing drama. It just so happens to be set in the Star Wars universe. That's from her. That's not from me. That I mean,
Yeah,
I stole that from Lucy. That's her take.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I need to watch it, man. What about Agatha? Have you been
I
watching
did.
that still?
I've been keeping up with Agatha. I have an updated kind of advice and stuff for that. Up until now, it's been like what I've said. It's been a witch show about witchiness. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's witch shit. And it still is. But the last episode took a hard right turn, and it is now this week. It's like guess what? It's a Marvel show. It's a Marvel show.
Okay.
And it's still witchy, but if you have not seen WandaVision, like I push even harder on what I said originally. It's like
Mm,
watch WandaVision and
mm.
Doctor Strange, like this Doctor
Okay,
Strange 2. It's like
okay, okay,
it is what it is. Because
okay.
otherwise you
No,
could be
no,
like,
no, 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 no.
but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no,
it's a
no,
Marvel
no.
show.
It's this damn list of mine. It's getting longer and longer. But like I said, I got a week off coming up soon. So if I can get this on my Gigantophone before I leave, I'm going to be busy. So all good.
One of my buddies who visited had your same Gigantophone, and my eyes rolled so hard I got a headache. And it was.
Well, the guy's got good taste. Guy's got good taste.
But other than
Clearly,
that, man, that's all.
he obviously thinks practically as well. I'm traveling. I take a phone with me. I take an iPad with me. I take a Kindle with me. With this phone, that sounds like I'm marrying it. With this phone, Ivy wed. No, with this phone, I can take everything with me in one handy, convenient, and not at all bulky handset.
He's got that VDU phone. Just
What about anything else, mate?
that's a throwback. I haven't watched anything else, man. I'm just sitting in my
I've
room
been
full
pretty
of
busy. I
clutter.
mean,
Yeah,
I've been pretty busy, but all at the right time at the wrong, the wrong things at the wrong time. I'll start with listening. Listening. So I am going to mention her again this week. Sackhoff Show. This week is Jonathan Frakes, and it's a good yarn. It's a really good yarn because he's such a nice top bloke. But most importantly, the previous week it was Iman Esfandi, who is known obviously for being the actor that played Aladdin, but in our world played Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka. And I have to say, what a dude! What
yeah.
a really, really mellow dude with such a balanced and solid outlook on life. For
Mhm.
such a young guy, he knows exactly what he wants, and he's very spiritual guy. I never ever saw it coming, but very, very spiritual guy. Really impressed. He'll go in the middle of nowhere and just just do yoga for a week or so just to center himself. I'm really, really, really respecting that. I wish I could follow that kind of lifestyle myself, but unfortunately I can't. But yeah, it was a really, really good yarn. Um, Thank the Maker. Thank the
Yeah.
Maker is uh, I listened to it this week, and it was very, very relevant to our chat with Chris and Kev last week, in that they dedicated nearly 2 hours on posters, on movie posters, on Star Wars movie posters. And they've got a really, really cool guy as a guest that's an expert in kind of the history of posters in general,
Mhm.
but also kind of some of the independent and underground type of art styles. And I really, really enjoyed it. And it seemed so relevant based on the conversation that we had last week. It just so
Yeah.
happened to be, on this week. Um, Ed introduced me to, when we were going on the way up to Nottingham, Ed introduced me to a pod called Smartless, which I'm
Okay.
sure you already know about. But it was new to me. And it was basically, and I didn't even know. I mean, they've been going for 223 episodes. And we're talking about, basically talking about Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett every
Okay.
week. They do a podcast. Again, I had no idea at all. and it's really, really good, and very, very funny. The three guys are relatively funny in themselves anyway, but they get when they get hosts that really, really engage. It's really quite funny. So I'm not only was I introduced to that podcast, but I'm also making my way through their back catalogue. They have an amazing one. I'm trying to look at how long ago it is. It was as far back as 2 or 3 months back. 3 months ago. 3 months ago, they had John Williams, the great John Williams, in his 90s. John Williams on their podcast, and they were shooting the shit with each other. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The way that they got him to engage, his willingness to take the piss out of them and for them to take the piss out of him was superb, absolutely superb. And then lastly, one of our buddy Hawes, one of his Patreon episodes, Masters of Harvest Kasi, which is where he talks about video games with King Tom. And they talked about their first impressions on Outlaws, and I thought it was really good because I listened to it quite late, and I got the feeling that and I'll talk a little bit about Outlaws in a second, where I am at the moment with Outlaws. But it was interesting because they hadn't got as far as I had, and typically when I listen to other people talking about games, they're a shitload more well ahead of me, and it was interesting to listen to their early thoughts. And I sent them a few DMs without actually trying to give anything away, like persevere with this and this will happen for you and all that kind of stuff. But it was really good. It was a really, really good episode. I really thoroughly enjoyed it because it was very, very relevant to where where I am at the moment. So I was listening. We are finished watching. So we finished watching Slow Horses season 4, the Gary Oldman show that ended last week. And goodness me, I was in pieces. Emotional roller coaster. It's a really good, gritty show, and you always hope that these guys that are all trouble and they all have all their problems, but they're going to make it through. And typically they do, but there's some heart-wrenching stuff going on at the same time. And in particular, the ending of this series was an awful lot about loved ones and love. What we do with loved ones as they get older, and what happens when they can no longer look after themselves. And it really is a eye-opening, traumatic, and very, very real conclusion to what has been a really great series. I finished Monsters as well. Monsters, the Ryan and Eric. Goodness me, what are they called? The two lads that killed their parents.
The Menendez brothers.
Menendez brothers. Sorry, thank you. Yeah, the Menendez. I finished watching that season of Monsters with them. It leaves it open. Did they? Didn't they? Sorry, we know they did, but did they do it for this reason, or was it for the original reason the defense? The prosecution presented. We don't know. But very, very well done. Again, it's kind of subject matter and the way it's portrayed, especially one or two of the episodes, not something you'd readily revisit as a light watch. But I'm glad. I'm really a little bit like Baby Reindeer. It's kind of something that I'm glad. I'm really, really glad I saw it. And then lastly, before I talk about what I've been playing, Outer Range. So we started Outer Range. So out of the long list I've got of stuff that I need to watch, I'll add Penguin to this short list. But there was Outer Range. It's on Prime. It stars Josh Brolin, and it is good so far. So good. We're about halfway through season 1 at the moment, and the premise is there's some strange shit going down on this guy's farm. Meanwhile, he's got a beef going on with the neighbors, which are a very big, powerful ranching family. And shit goes down. Strange things are happening. It's a little bit like if you ever saw Under the Dome or mixed with the Twilight Zone and anything like that. It's some good stuff. It's a bit surreal in places, and it's a little bit There's some art house kind of directing going on, but so far so good. We're both enjoying it. Put it this way, we haven't said let's give this a miss yet. So hoping to at the very least make a more of a decision by the end of season 1, which will probably be in the next couple of days or so. Playing Outlaws. So I finished story mode, and I'm very nearly finished everything else now. So since I texted you and said, hey, I finished story mode, I'm very close to the end. There's very few things I can do now. Apart from the collecting bit, if you know what I mean. I finished all the story mode missions. I've finished all the main missions outside of story mode that are still part of that first tab in terms of the quests that I've got to do. I've finished all the intel missions that I can. 2 of them are broken. 2 of them have got bugs so that you can't finish them. So you find a treasure and it doesn't complete the mission. Or indeed, one of them is there is a you know how you can squeeze through the wall, aka similar to how you can with
like shimmy.
Jedi. No. Through the gap. Yeah, that's it. Through the gap.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there is a crack in a wall somewhere, and which I could get through the first attempt. And of course, I died, so I regressed back to a particular save point. And then the second time, I can't. And I revisit it. I can't get through there. Done some of the space stuff. In particular, there's one main mission that you got to do, which is kind of space, but it's mainly around kind of scavenging in space, which has left me with pretty much just the collecting stuff to do. So I've got every single outfit. Damn. I've upgraded my weapon to everything. I've upgraded the speeder to everything, and I'm in the process of upgrading my the Trailblazer to everything as well. And then after that, I'm looking at there's some treasures that you can get for Nix, your buddy.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I think I'm going to have to hang up the joystick. Hang up the controller until the new DLC comes out in November the 21st, I believe. Nice. But yeah, mate, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm okay just switching it on. And Lucy's like, "You finished? What are you still doing on there?" And just going somewhere and playing Sabacc. I'm cool with that.
What does she play on this the Switch?
At the moment, the new Zelda game. Whatever that is. Yeah. Which is weird because it looks kind of basic. The old
be careful what you say. Be careful.
Oh, I'm sure. No, I'm sure. I'm sure. But I'm talking graphic. When you think about how abundant and how graphically rich Breath of the Wild was, for example, it's a lot more of a isometric platform. It seems like a more of an isometric platformer than perhaps recent versions. Anyway, listen, no, that's what she's playing at the moment, and that's kind of where I am at the moment. Yeah, I'm still playing it, and I'm still really enjoying it. It's a good yarn. It's a really, really good yarn.
Nice.
I must say it's quite refreshing having a shorter episode this week compared to last week.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's like there's other stuff I have in the works, like that I'm like I've been helping some people, but I can't I don't want to talk about them yet. So it's like there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. It's like, I've been helping some people with some things, maybe some crafty stuff. There's got some holidays coming up. We got some other things in the pipeline. We got some other shows coming out soon. We got a lot of stuff kind of queuing up, and I'm preparing for my flights and preparing for some time away from home. So I'm getting a lot of stuff downloaded or not downloaded, pre-downloaded in the apps. Definitely legal, 100%.
Yep.
And just so it's a little bit shorter one, but queuing up the content and getting ready for some stuff. Yeah.
Good. Well, listen, we've got all the time in the world, and we need to start queuing up our next guests. Now that once I've booked those tickets this weekend, we need to start queuing up our next guests that we've been talking about for ages.
John Williams, baby, let's go.
Is quite cool about coming on, but we need to queue that up so that we can start talking about Celebration amongst a few guests that we want to have on to talk about celebration and what we're looking forward to. So that there's that coming up. We need to do season 2, or sorry, the second round of toy fairs and collecting with the boys.
Mhm.
And there's a few other irons in the fire as well that we need to think about landing pretty soon. God, we've been going
Yes.
for quite a while now. What, episode 40?
Yeah.
We're 12 weeks away from doing a year, mate. That's insane.
Yeah.
That
We
is
are.
absolutely insane.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does, man. It does. And I must admit, this for many, I mean, you know what's going on with work at the moment. You know the pressure of stuff. You know the last minute changes that are going on at the moment, which haven't been much fun at all, and all that kind of malarkey. But quite frankly, I love chatting to you midway through my week. It keeps me sane, and it kind of breaks me out of work mode because it's very easy to spend so much time in the weeds. So it very much breaks me out of workload. So that's really, really cool. In the next couple of weeks, we've got, there's a lot going on, man. A lot going on. As I said, next week we are recording as normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following week, we're recording as normal. And then that Friday, as I said, Lucy and I are taking a week out away from everything. No laptops, no nothing. So we'll either we should think about maybe recording a little bit later that week when I get back,
Yep.
a week later. Or, maybe skip a week, which would feel weird if I'm perfectly honest with you. Or we can ask a few buddies to come join you.
And if I can't find anybody, I can always vamp for 2.5 hours about my manifesto or something. I could probably figure something out.
Actually, on the credits, yeah, exactly. On the credits of things I've been listening to, Iraj was stuck in that position last week. Did you hear it?
I did.
And he did a really good job. I thought
Yeah,
he did a really, really good job.
you're coming
Yeah.
dangerously close to complimenting Araj on the Sith list over here. Like
I know, it's bad,
you've
isn't it?
come
Yeah.
full circle. But
It's
yeah,
all full
it was
circle.
really good. Yeah, it was really good. I like the pre-recorded clip with like King Tom too. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really, really well done. And he kept the fact that he kept the agenda together, I thought was amazing. But yeah, all credit to him for doing that, because I don't think I could do that. Not for an hour anyway.
You don't think you could vamp for an hour?
Oh, with you, yeah, for sure.
No, I mean,
No problem at all.
I think if I had a vote, if I could take a voter poll right now and be like, do you think Andy could talk amongst himself by himself for an hour? I think the results would be overwhelmingly. I don't think he couldn't.
Okay. Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. And then, of course, we get into the silly season. We get into, Thanksgiving for you guys. We get into holiday period, and then, then Christmas, my favorite time of year.
Holidays.
Yeah,
I think I get into candy making season, and I think I'm going to take on some new. I think I'm going to try some new recipes. Well, I haven't found them yet, but I think I'm going to take on some new recipes this year. Try some stuff out. Then we'll have to have just cooking.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really looking forward to Christmas this year. We've got no stress, no dramas. The girls are coming back as they always do. We've got Lucy's mum and dad coming over for the day. And again, I've said this story before. They turn up, we exchange gifts, they eat, they go home. They are the perfect guests. They are the perfect guests. And then we just slob out on the sofa for the rest of the evening, and then maybe think about actually being a little bit active and playing a board game for about 10 minutes or so before the family falls apart arguing with each other. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because it's going to be very, very, very low key. And that's exactly what I need. Low key at the moment in my mind, exactly what I need.
You got to get your inner Clark Griswold on and be like,
yeah,
good old family Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. But the great thing about having a family Christmas without guests is that everyone can go and do their own thing.
Yeah.
The house is big, we have enough space in the house that, we've got two TV, equivalent of two TV rooms. One's a small snug, but we've got two TV rooms. You can watch what you want when you want. You can do whatever you want when you want. If you want to be part of the conversation, you can be. If you want to just grab some Z's up in your bedroom or do something else, you can as well. There's no pressure to entertain, which is amazing for me because over recent years we've had to do an awful lot of entertaining. So yeah,
I
I'm
might have to
looking
get
forward to
Madison to
it, man.
come.
I really
Maybe
am.
we'll just show up at your place for Christmas because that sounds low key. I like that.
Yeah, mate, you're more than welcome. No, fuck it. Then I've got to entertain you. No way, no way. Anyway, no, I think if you're okay with me just sitting there in my own underpants and eating all the wrong food and drinking all the wrong drink to the point where I pass out in a coma on the sofa, the family then leave me on the sofa and then go to bed and just allow me to wake myself up about 3 a.m, stone cold, and where I make my weary way upstairs, then you're more than welcome to join us. No problem at all.
We'll have to
Right,
see.
mate. Yeah, I think our networks I think we're
It's
starting to
like you're
get
done. You're
a little
done.
bit. Well, no. I honestly think in the last minute or so we're starting to get a few gremlins again in our respective networks. So,
Yeah.
dude, thank you again. I needed this again.
Yep.
Thank you for recording with me, buddy. Thank you to everyone for listening. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your advice. Thank you for your feedback that you give us. And I'm glad that generally speaking, you seem to be okay with two idiots just chatting like this.
Yeah.
Thank you, and we'll see you next week. Sean, take us out, buddy.
Dude, I have no life advice besides once again watch Inside Out 2. Take care of your friends and family. But yeah, I appreciate everybody who listens. I love the feedback, even if it's not always the most positive, which we always get positive, but I'm like, hey, if you have not positive feedback, send it our way too.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
you,
absolutely.
you can find us at justchillin.com, where can find links to all of our exciting stuff like Instagram and links to Goodpods and blah 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 blah. Yeah. And all that good stuff. Yeah, we love when you guys interact with us. We love when you listen and you provide feedback. It's gonna be a spicy couple weeks, so be on the lookout for new episodes of different guests, different things, and we'll figure it out. But until then, take care, everybody.
Goodbye now.
Bye.